Greetings and aloha from Earth, friends. This is Gemini Brett and baby Maya with a transmission at this Mercury Kazemi time. Here's Mercury between us and that big light in the sky called the sun, who is set to make his home in the sign of Leo, where he now resides. So Mercury retrograde in Leo. How's it been playing for you? Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year, really pi times a year because Mercury's genius, for about 3 weeks at a time. And near the middle of that retrograde trip, where Mercury seems to be moving backwards through Earth's zodiac. Well, is moving backwards through Earth's zodiac, but is not moving backwards in orbit. Mercury retrograde, like any planetary retrograde, means passings. Either Earth passing an outer planet, or in the case of the interior decorators like Mercury, Earth being passed. Regardless, when a planet is in or near the middle of its retrograde period, it means it's closest to Earth. So here we have Mercury super close to us right now. And Nadine, I see you here asking about baseball trades, and Padres did pretty good. Well, this Padre did pretty good, huh? You know, I'm just tripping, like in this retrograde, I've been liberating a storage unit, so going through all sorts of old stuff, which helped me find that I got this shirt in 2007 when Mercury was not retrograde, because it was in August that I joined a soul band from here in the Bay Area of California called Lord Loves It Workin' Man, to play a series of shows. And one of those, I remember where I got this shirt, was in Boise, Idaho, on the Tour de Fat. It was Fat Tire Brewing Company's thing to encourage people to do less car and more bike. And that band, which was an amazing soul band, wore suits. So we were wearing like full suits in Boise, Idaho in August. And that's quite a Leo solar hot experience. Band actually had a bass player named Leo. How do I know that Mercury was not retrograde at that time? Because that was 2007. That was 18 years ago. 18 years, that's a Saros period. It's about families of eclipses, but it's not Mercury, because Mercury goes 7 6 7 6 7 7 6 7 6 7 7 6 7 6 7 7 6 7. Of course, Mercury plays in polyrhythms of 33, and especially realigns at age 79. And it might be an interesting time. First of all, let me just say that Mercury is right now between us and the light. So I advise you to get out, face the sun, close your eyes, wiggle your eyelids, get the light show going, ask for a vision, ask for a message. The other thing is have the courage to turn your back to the sun, let the sun warm the back of your heart and face your shadow. And you can feel then sun, Mercury, you follow your shadow to the center of the earth, where we are all connected. Hey baby, let's stay on the grass. There's some kind of like spiky plant stuff over here, okay? Let's stay in the grass. Come here. Come here. And then, you know, like Mercury, we're going to turn you around so you can get some rest on Daddy's chest. Yeah. All right, folks, we better make this quick. So interestingly, because it is July 31st, today is the trade deadline for Major League Baseball. I know most of you star students are not too interested in sports, but look, Leo can represent games, can in some ways represent youth, young people getting paid a lot of money because they're very good at baseball. And every year there's a trade deadline at July 31st, so it's not too surprising that a few days ago 2 pitchers, one named Tyler Rogers and the other Taylor Rogers, were traded on the same day. But it is fascinating because they are twins. And of course, twins present a challenge to astrology, where we believe the birth chart, your time and place, shows us your unique characteristics and ways. And twins sometimes are born in the same place, less than a minute apart. And so the charts look relatively the same, right? Anyway, it is intriguing, especially when twins are like separated at birth, to then see, and many astrologers have done research, that similar things will happen to them at the same time in their lives, like getting married at the same time. So here we go, like two baseball professional pitchers in professional baseball who are twins, Taylor and Tyler Rogers, were traded on the same day. I think that's a pretty amazing thing. Again, it's not like as surprising as it would be if they were traded at a different time of the year, because July 31st each year is the Major League Baseball trading deadline. We should really speak about lifelines when we speak Leo. And I'm remembering, actually, Lord Loves a Working Man played a song about throw out your lifeline. Right. How often will Mercury be retrograde during the Major League Baseball trade deadline? Well, that's pretty easy math, really, because Mercury has this very interesting polyrhythm where the cycles, and there are pi cycles a year, 22 cycles in 7 years of Mercury with the sun and earth sky. In other words, pi, 22 sevenths, right? But there's this rhythm where Mercury will dance in similar ways every 7 years, but it's not that simple. For Venus, it is harmonic, beautiful. Every 8 years, the Venus sun cycle reconfigures. And it's not exact. The Venus star, if you've studied that, slowly retrogrades through the zodiac by about 2 degrees every 8 years. But for the most part, you can cast your multiple 8 solar return charts, like 8, 16, 24, 32, etc. And you will find that Venus is realigned and in phase with the sun as she was at the time of your birth. Now, if you were born with Venus retrograde, or Venus about to retrograde, or having just previously stationed direct from retrograde, it's not as easy to see as it is for folks who weren't born around the Venus retrograde time. But generally speaking, Venus 8s. 8, or Venus sun, or really Earth Venus sun, 8. For Mars, 15 and 17 alternating, so at 32, which is 15 and 17. You see Mars, and 15 and 17, 32 is also an 8, Venus. So there's actually a Earth, Venus, Sun, Mars thing that happens every 32 years, 32, 64, 96. These are called synodic cycles, and they're very interesting to research. Well, like Mars, Mercury flips it up. Mars goes 15, then 17, 15, then 17, 15, then 17. And the strongest Martian realignment's at 79 years of age, though 47 is a pretty close one too. Cast your 47th solar return chart, and you'll see what I mean. Similar placement of Mars as it was at the time of your birth. Cast your 79th, and you'll see even closer. Mars at that time of your 79th birthday, or 79th solar return to Mars in your natal chart. Well, if you cast your 79th solar return, you'll see Mercury in the house as well. Because Mercury has this really interesting polyrhythm, which in some regards looks like 13 at first. It goes 7, then 6, 7, then 6. But it's actually 33. It goes 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. And while that 33 repeats again, 33 and 66, the strongest realignment of Mercury is also like Mars at 79. So 33, 33, 13. And you really just have to cast these solar return charts, and it kind of shows it to yourself. Anyway, so Major League Baseball, the Mercury League Baseball trade deadline on July 31st each year does not too often coincide with Mercury retrograde, and therefore offers an opportunity for some pretty interesting research, right? Like, we could see if trades during the Mercury retrograde are more commonly regrettable than ones that happen when Mercury is direct. Like, that'd be an interesting thing to pursue. Now, it's a subjective term, regret, isn't it? But here's an interesting one. Last night, the Seattle Mariners, the best baseball club on earth, just traded for Eugenio Suarez. Well, so what? Well, Gino used to play for the Mariners, so they got him back. And today, the Houston Astros, yeah, if I wasn't a Mariners fan, I'd have to be an Astros fan, right? But I'm not. Today, the Astros traded for Carlos Correa, who used to play for the Astros, right? So there are at least two cases, I think only these two, but at least two cases in which major trades were made at this Major League Baseball trade deadline, where teams traded for players that had already played for that same team in the past. Now that offers an interesting opportunity for some research as well. Like, if Mercury is retrograde during the Major League Baseball trade deadline, is it more common for teams to trade for players that had already played for that team in some previous year? It'd be even more fascinating if it was 7 or 6 years before, depending where we are in the Mercury polyrhythm. But of course, baseball careers don't tend to last for 13 years. Now the Mariners, I was just stopped to consider this. The Mariners manager, which is basically what you call a coach in baseball, or a head coach, he was once the Mariners catcher. So it'd be interesting to see if, when he took the helm for the Mariners last year in the middle of the season, when the previous Mariner was let go, if Mercury was retrograde at that time too. So even if you don't like sports, and I'm not suggesting you should, you do you, it does offer an interesting opportunity for tons of data that astrology can use to see if our rules work. I wanted to share that stuff with you. Thanks for spending some time. I hope during this amazing alignment of Earth, Mercury, and Sun, a message comes your way. And I know for sure that you will see something incredibly adorable, because this. Hey Maya, mother of Hermes. What'd you find, baby? Some grass? What do you want to say to these folks, Maya? Do you want to say da? Da. This is called leading the witness. Oh my gosh, you're standing, you're falling, you're almost walking. Exactly. What do you think about a little bit of a nap, my love? Bye, y'all. See you in space. Hey, by the way, if you want to support the work, GeminiBrett.com. See you when stars align. Bye-bye. Hi. Hi.